Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to cover some Mini Z material, but first I just want to give everybody a heads up. For those who don't subscribe to the channel, please do and give this video a like. I have some big news coming for the next video, hopefully by this weekend. Some big projects on the horizon and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. So please stay tuned. Big news coming up in the next one. So quickly, we had our most recent race at the community center, our local Mini Z club. It was a great track, really wide open this time, lots of sweeping high-speed corners, really testing the limits of grip at higher speeds. My type of track, and I really enjoyed it. First with the MR03, it ran extremely well. It was really stable and consistent. I had a lot of fun with it. The one thing I did add this time was golf tape. So in our rules, we are permitted to add weights to the car to give it a little bit more heft and more stability on the track. So what I did is I added some golf tape, which is a common method of adding weight to the box stock Mini Zs. So that seemed to work very well, and the car overall ran really well. I think we mentioned last time that I replaced the front wheels back to stock. I had some +2 offsets on the front before, and upon doing a little bit of research, having experienced a lot of skittish and sporadic steering behavior, that the wider the offset you go on the front from stock, the more sensitive your steering is because of the scrub angle. So basically, the further away your wheel is from the pivot point of your steering, in this case, the kingpin, it adds more leverage to your steering and can add a lot more twitchiness to the front end. So I went back to the stock offsets and it seemed to work really well in combination with, you know, the few extra grams that you gain by installing the golf tape. So that worked really well. The Atomic MRX performed very well. I'm still, you know, getting used to running it. I am now running 14mm Marca tires on the back to provide a little bit more rear end stability, and I've got lots of grip in the back end. And if you recall last time, I was having this little issue with this carrier bearing or this guide bearing in the chassis. So I kept that oiled all night long, and that seemed to settle the rear end and make things nice and stable. However, what I would like to point out is an issue common with all the MRXs with respect to the installation of Hobbywing motors. So I don't know if you can tell, but look how crooked the motor is, right? And you can also see that it actually sticks out the bottom of the chassis because the motor doesn't sit square on the motor mount. So this is a known issue with Hobbywing motors specifically and the MRX motor mount. And it has to do with, you know, the mounting holes on the motor and the way that they sit against the motor mount. So Atomic has released an updated 3-hold motor mount that fixes this problem. So you can even tell from the top that the motor is a little bit crooked front to back, but it's most apparent from the rear. You can see that it actually slopes down and protrudes out the bottom of the chassis. So that's a problem. The other thing I will point out, and I didn't notice this until last night after looking at the car after the racing, but because of the crooked motor, the pinion gear actually rubbed on the inside of the tire and wore away, I don't know, like a 0.5 millimeter from my really nice 14mm Marca tire. So that's a little bit crazy. I'm hoping, and I think, you know, based on looking at everything, that once the motor is properly aligned in the motor mount in the rear pod, then that provides the sufficient clearance to the tire. But I found that pretty crazy that that the pinion ate away about a 0.5 millimeter from my really nice 14mm Marca tire. So for those of you running the wide rear ends and the Hobbywing motors with the stock pinion gear, have a look for that. So that's pretty crazy, but that will get fixed once the new motor mount arrives with 3 holes and it properly aligns the motor. I've also got a couple more things coming up for this car that I'm excited to try. So first is the Simple Front kit that has just come out for the MRX. The Simple Front kit replaces everything in the front end. So right now you have the traditional kind of Kyosho style front suspension where the springs are in the center. You can probably see them here. And the suspension is actuated by the wheels moving up and down the kingpin, but then the spring is in the center, as you can see it compressing there. The simple front kit moves the spring to the kingpin. That is more typical of, you know, your 1/12 pan car style of front end suspension. So we get away from these weird upper A-arm things with the shims that control caster, and everything is moved into, or the springing or the suspension is moved into the kingpin area. So apparently this simple front really helps with front end stability, and it makes it easier to drive, so I've decided to try that. The second thing I've purchased is the Atomic ball diff. So that'll be coming to replace the gear diff. I mean, this thing performs okay. However, at times it still feels a little bit stiffer than I would like compared to the ball diff that I'm running on the MR03. So I've ordered the Atomic ball diff to go in concert with a newly aligned motor once that new motor mount comes in. And I will say, Atomic was quick to reply to my concerns, and it's a known issue, and they're sending out that revised motor mount free of charge. I'll say that. And then finally, what I'm doing is, instead of putting golf tape all over my really, really nice Atomic chassis, I've ordered the brass inserts. So they're specially made for this chassis, and they go into these holes here, and they screw down. So nice little brass inserts. And again, that adds some additional weight, nice and low, lowering the center of gravity of the car and making it handle better. So I'm looking forward to those parts coming in with the motor mount, and I'll put all of that stuff in at the same time, and hopefully that'll solve the unfortunate chewing of my nice 14mm tire. So more to follow on that. Anyways, that's it for now. Again, I've asked that you guys please stay tuned for the next video. I've got a big reveal coming in the 1/10 scale world that I'm really excited to share with you guys. So hope to see you then. Talk to you in the next video.